you've got to be authentic, and what you stand for and what you say has got to translate across everything that you do. You might only get 20 seconds to deliver those key messages to the decision maker. So you've got to get to the point. The first call needs to be the most high energy call that you will make that day, because that sets you up then for the rest of the day. The first call is always the hardest. And that's why I say just make the first call, because then you'll be loosened up, ready to go. Everyone absorbs information and takes in information differently. Some like to read, some like to speak, some like to listen to a voice note, some like to watch a video. So actually, if you're thinking about how can I reach my target audience, well, you need to be where they are and meet them there. Do something that's going to make you stand out from the crowd. You know, they'll remember you as, oh, that's the person that sent me the video, sent me the voice note, whatever it might be.
You're listening to the Sales Today podcast, and I'm your host, Fred Copestake. On this podcast, we explore how sales professionals can develop a modern approach to winning business, the application of virtual selling techniques, how to create meaningful business relationships, and much more. Why not take our free collaborative selling scorecard to see how your sales approach suits today's environment? You'll find a link in the show notes. And welcome to this episode of the Sales Today podcast, where I'm delighted to be joined by Leisa Pickles, who is Chief Go-Getter at Find Me the Leads, and also best-selling author of The Only Salesperson in the Room. So Leisa, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Only salesperson in the room. I guess that's what we all want to be, right?
Oh, is it? So I can understand why you would think that. And as a salesperson, I think you're probably saying that because you think, if I am the only salesperson in the room, that automatically means that everyone else in the room is going to come to me to help them with their selling, which is true. But in the context of this book, actually what I want to achieve by this book, and I want the readers to achieve, is to actually not be the only salesperson in the room. So the story behind the title of the book is around a conference that I attended about 3 years ago that was aimed specifically at small business owners. And at the start of the conference, the host asked the question, or posed the question to the audience, who in the room does sales? And I put my hand right up, but I was one of probably maximum 5 people in a room of, 200 plus business owners that put my hand up. And as I looked around, my hand started to get lower and lower as I realized that actually I was the only one with my hand up. And as I looked around, I thought, well, this is just crazy. So if these business owners do not own the sales category and identify as salespeople, who is actually doing the selling in their business? And I think this sparked the idea, the interest, the need for me to put my thoughts down onto paper to inspire business owners to just do sales in a way that feels comfortable to them. So actually, the only salesperson in the room might come across at first as being a good position to be in if you're touting for business, but actually I want it to be quite the opposite. I don't ever want to be in a room where I am the only salesperson in the room.
Well, that is so interesting. And sadly, you don't surprise me at all.
Yeah, no,
there was
I know.
that reaction.
And that's not an isolated incident. It's always the case. Everyone, the next question that flowed was, who in the room does marketing? And everyone put their hand up because everyone likes creating fancy graphics in Canva and getting their messaging out there to the world. But nobody actually likes to start the conversations and then convert them into paying customers.
Creating fancy graphics in Canva. That's colouring in department.
Yeah, sorry to all the marketeers. But yeah,
I'm going to send this to all my marketing friends.
Yeah, we love you, really.
It's not about messaging or positioning or anything at all. It's pretty pictures. No,
yeah.
We could have too much fun going down that rabbit hole. Let's not. Too much fun and too much trouble. But I mean, No, I've seen this before. You've seen it a number of times. Why do you think people don't want to identify as salespeople? If that's how we're going to explain it.
I just there's so much association with the word sales, and I feel that in a lot of instances it's because of what we've had done to us, and probably just through, we associate sales with probably with the negative experiences that we've had. So, when you go into a sofa showroom, I won't say the name because I don't want to promote them because they don't deserve it, and they pounce on you straight away and follow you round, literally, like ready for the moment that you're going to sit down, and then they can get you. And I think that is what a lot of people consider sales to be, pushy, sleazy, uncomfortable, all of those sort of negative words. There's never really any positive vocabulary associated with the process of selling. And I think that's where it comes from. And I never thought I would be a salesperson. That's not what I told my careers advisor I wanted to be. But actually, to me, sales is just about the process of building relationships and getting to know people, uncovering their needs, matching your offer to their needs, and just being naturally inquisitive and curious about people and their businesses. So it doesn't have to be negative, sleazy, uncomfortable if it's done right.
Yeah, I fully support that. Fully agree. But I've got this little theory about this salesiness. People don't want to be salesy. So I don't know whether this resonates with you, that people don't want to be salesy, so they don't do sales training. So they think you're going to turn them into that person they don't want to be. Right.
Yeah.
Okay, fine, their choice. But at some stage, particularly as a business owner, you're going to have to do some of this if you want to keep the business going. And because you don't know what to do, you suddenly panic and I've got to do sales. So you play to the stereotype and you become the person you don't want to be.
Yeah.
Whereas if you got on the training, we'd have said, don't do that. Don't work. It's not very clever. There are far better ways to do it, like being curious and understanding people and their needs and helping them. And so the salesy ones are the ones who don't want to be salesy, and that's causing a bit of a problem.
Yeah,
Have you come
definitely.
across that? Is that a
Oh,
fair little
yeah.
hypothesis I have, or have I lost the plot?
I mean, it's a process, right? Sales is a process, and I think you've got to have a process that guides you and the prospect to becoming a customer. But I think as well, it's just this so many people just jumped in too soon, too quickly, and that's really off-putting, and that then gives them a negative experience, and it gives obviously the person a negative experience as well. And I cannot stress enough, and this is not the case in all interactions, all experiences, that it does take time. And actually the relationships and the customers worth having are the ones that you nurture over a long period of time. And I shared some examples. I share some examples in the book about, scenarios that I've had where it's taken, 4 years from the first moment I met someone to them actually becoming a paying customer within my business. And I think, 4 years is quite common, but it's not the norm. So people should not be put off by that. But I think this is the point. It's timing. It's putting the investment into growing and nurturing that relationship and knowing when the time is right to go in and ask for the sale. Because like you said, otherwise you're just chatting with people, aren't you? At some point you are going to have to move it along a bit and say, right, okay, how can I help you, sort of thing.
Yeah. I mean, you're just chatting to somebody. There's nothing wrong with just chatting, but that's all you're ever doing is just chatting. I mean, your business is going to suffer as a result.
Yeah.
If you're not doing that, there's something else that people will be mortified if they realize they're doing this. And this is what happens. You're just pushing. And they'll go, no, I'm not pushy. And it's like, well, okay, are you telling people about your product before you've even found anything else out? It's like, yeah, because I have to sell.
Yeah.
You got your sequencing wrong.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
you're actually the pushy salesperson you don't like. Well, I'm not, because I'm doing it nicely. You're still doing it wrongly because your order is messed up.
Yeah,
You need
definitely.
deliberate chatting, if you want to call it that. It is, at the end of the day, it's conversations, but there's a bit of a kind of thing to it, and then you speak about your stuff. It's a bit
Yeah, and
counterintuitive. Some
it
people think that, don't they?
absolutely it
Yeah.
absolutely is, and it's about chatting with intent.
Mm.
So something that I've spoken about a lot is I come from a corporate background, as many people do who start, their own businesses. There is a difference between attending a networking event as a paid employee of a big corporation versus the owner of a business. So typically, when you go to events or expos or whatever, you are sent there because it's your job, or you might be the unlucky one that pulled the short straw. So you are
It depends
there.
where it is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you are there representing your business, but you are one of a number of people doing that. So you're just there to be there. Whereas when you're a small business owner, you go to an event, you've definitely taken time out of your business. You might have paid money to be there, which is obviously impacting your bottom line. But you have to be present, you have to work the room, you have to use that event and that exhibition or whatever it is to your advantage. And it's about being intentional. So finding out who's likely to be there, identifying those people and making a beeline for them and starting those conversations. But actually it's totally different. The way that you work that scenario is different when you are there as the owner of your business, working the room to uncover opportunities which you can then jump on and convert later down the line into customers.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, like I said, same but different.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you're sent, I mean, ideally, you've been sent to uncover opportunities and to make connections and to understand what people's issues are and where the company might help.
Yeah.
So it's similar sort of thing, but it's almost, there's more at stake in it as a smaller business owner, isn't there? Smaller business.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And I just think that the way that you turn up is the way that you show up is so important. I speak in the book about sales being a transfer of energy, and I absolutely can't bear it. And when I go to trade shows and I see people sitting down behind a table, with this barrier, and I just think, okay, so you've got a bowl with a few sweets in it, but you're sitting down looking uninterested. You'd rather be anywhere than there. Why would I approach you? You are the least approachable person in the room. And I just think that removing the barriers to entry and just being this person who is standing, who is open, who is welcoming, who is ready to engage and have conversations is going to draw people to you, not just at exhibitions and events, but in general. How you present yourself in person, online, is what draws people to you. You get back what you put out.
Online is big, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
so I've been sales training a long time, we always talk first impressions and we do a whole little module on that. Now it's like, well, yeah, people make the first impressions of you before they meet you.
Yeah.
If
and,
I
and
look
we
at you and go, you're speaking double Dutch. How can they do that? I said,
Yeah.
they are looking at you online. They're seeing, like you say, how have you turned up? How you present yourself? What are you about? So look as though it's going to be an interesting conversation with you, or if that guy's around, I'm going to avoid them because they've got nothing
Yeah.
about him.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I've got 2 points on that, and you'll know this. When you write a book, you sort of think, well, I did it anyway. Oh, I need to use lots of like fancy words and big language because that's what people do when they write books. And throughout the process, the authors, the publishers that I was working with said, absolutely not. This needs to be your language, your tone of voice, so that when people that know you, whether they know you in person or know you online, pick up this book, they don't think, that doesn't sound like Leisa. That's not the voice that she presents out to the wider world. So I think there is definitely that. You've got to be authentic, and what you stand for and what you say has got to translate across everything that you do. But also, talking about online, we if talk about sales process, the reality is a lot of people that come to you. So some customers that come to me seemingly out of the blue, like, wow, wasn't expecting that. They've probably already formed an opinion and understand to a certain degree what I do and what I can help because of the content that I've put out online.
Yeah, because it's very deliberate. It's talking
Yeah,
to your customer. This is the
yeah,
pain you've probably got. This is the prize you're probably looking for. Create stuff around that. And then a bit about yourself. I've got cats. I like rugby.
yeah,
That's me. Yeah, so yeah, you don't have to say that if you don't have cats or don't like rugby, but it is important. But that language thing, that is key. I've seen this where I'll do some work with the team and we're working out again, what the pains, what's the things that are going on in the customer's world, and they just wrote them down on this flip chart. Yeah, really clearly, really elegantly. They obviously knew what was going on. I said, right, now we need to transfer it to the canvas. We need to put it into the presentation. And they got it, and they spent a load of time trying to find the most complicated way they could to describe this. I'm like, what are you doing? Oh, this is for an exec, so we've got to explain it like this. I'm like, why can't you say that? Oh, because an exec is still a person. They still need to
yeah,
understand that. Take that across there. Oh, no, we can't. And we actually got into quite a discussion that they needed to use this convoluted, over-indexed language because it was someone senior. I said, if anything, you need to simplify what you said in the first case because they've got
yeah.
less time to think about this. And if you can't cut through all the other stuff going on, they're just going to go, I don't really get it. Next.
Yeah, and also if you overcomplicate it, you're almost making it more difficult for yourself and giving yourself more chance of fluffing it up or coming unstuck because you're not speaking in your own authentic voice or actually saying words that would typically come out of your mouth. And I think that's what in my business we our primary communication tool is the telephone. And this is why it's really important for us to be able to clearly articulate, why we're calling, what the call to action is, what we're talking about or championing or representing at that moment in time, because you might only get 20 seconds to deliver those key messages to the decision maker. So you've got to get to the point. And I think this is the thing. It's about use simple language that's easy to land and that people understand.
I'm not sat waiting for your phone call with a clear brain ready to think about the pitch you've given me. You'll have
Yeah.
interrupted me from doing something else. Like, I might have been staring out the window, but it's me. But yeah, you've interrupted me and it's got to come in crystal clear and really resonate. Otherwise, forget it. You've had your chance, blown it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Do you ask for 20 seconds? Is that
Do
your
I?
style? Yeah. Is that something you train?
No.
I know
Oh
that there is
God,
quite a
no.
popular.
Oh,
This is a phone
I
call. Give me 20 seconds.
no, I can't bear. Can't bear. Hi, how are you today? Can't bear that. Would never say it. You would never hear those words coming out of my mouth unless the person asks me that question first. I know. So this is like my favorite subject. So
I know.
owning the conversation is so important. You can't be apologetic in your language. Oh, sorry to bother you, but no, because now you've just told them that you're bothering them and now actually you're bothering them. Own the conversation. But no, I can't be doing with that. How are you today? And I was just reaching out. Oh, pass me the sick bucket. No way.
But there is this permission-based opener, and look, some people love it, some people hate it. Each their own. I'm ambivalent, really. If it works, it's great. But it's this is a cold call. If you give me 30 seconds, I can explain why, and then you can decide whether to chuck the phone out the window or give me a little bit longer to talk more.
No call is cold if done right. We do cold calls in a warm way. Does that sound really naff?
Yeah, I know what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
It is a massive subject. I mean, you go on LinkedIn, there will be people who will talk about this all day long. They'll debate it. Their way is best. No, my way is best. No, they're different.
Yeah.
That could work
And
really well for you.
in my
It could work
head,
terribly for me. I might
yeah.
have a way that's absolutely smashing it for me. He goes, I couldn't say that, Fred. Okay, well, don't then.
You know what? That's the point. What works for you, because you need to feel confident to deliver whatever it is you need to deliver. So I have a style and a way of doing it that empowers me to do it. And I try to sort of guide other people through that, because this whole we talked about chat or chatting. I do not use the word cold calling in the process of cold calling, because straight away the person doing the cold calling is thinking, oh my God, this is awful. They're going to put the phone down. They're going to tell me to go away. They're going to be rude. You're just having a conversation. And actually, if you've done your research, the product or service that you're phoning that person to talk about should be something which is of relevance to them. So again, it's about do what you need to do to help you perform at your best, which will enable the person on the other end of the phone to feel comfortable talking to you.
So you reframe as prospecting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Looking for little bits of gold.
Yeah. And that's it in a nutshell.
Yeah, it's cool. It is just this one part of the sales process. It's fascinating, and the amount of time people spend on it or talking about it. Well, yeah, because it doesn't start unless you start. Some people love talking about cold calling. It's like a badge of honor that they're a cold caller. That they're the mental fortitude and strife and great. Look, if that's what's worked for you and that's how you psych yourself up, happy days.
Yeah.
If by reframing as prospecting works, do it. Neither is right nor wrong.
Yeah, exactly. And we've used a lot of words around confidence and prospecting and all those sorts of things. I always say to people, so I sit on my own in my spare room making my outreach calls. It's great. The only person who can hear what I'm saying is my dog. And that is, and I encourage people to do this. And I even say to them, stand up, stand up, open up your chest, project your voice. The first call needs to be the most high energy call that you will make that day, because that sets you up then for the rest of the day. If you're sitting down, oh, hi, yeah, it's Lisa from Finding the Leads. Well, for a start, what does the person on the other end think? And actually, by the time you've got to call number 50, you're probably on the floor, very, barely able to speak because your energy levels are so depleted.
I had someone the other day who actually said they had a slightly different interpretation on the first call.
Yeah.
She said it's a duff pancake. I'm like, well, what are you on about? She said, well, the first pancake you make, it's usually not very good.
Yeah.
But then after that, they get better.
Yeah.
And I think it's like because you have to line the pan or something like that. And
yeah.
So it probably won't be too good. So don't make it one that is really, really important to you. It's probably going to go because you're warming yourself up.
Yeah.
And then the next there'll be lovely pancakes coming out the pan.
The first call is always the hardest. Once you've done it, it's like they say about public speaking, don't they? If you can make it past the first 40 seconds, you're away. It's the same. It's the same with using the telephone. The first call is always the hardest, and that's why I say just make the first call, because then you'll be loosened up, ready to go.
Yeah. And if it's a bit of a duff pancake, well, fine.
Well, actually,
if it works, then it's a bonus. Hey, this pancake came out beautiful.
Yeah, and nobody needs to know. It's it's you and the person on the other end of the phone.
Has the dog ever whined? Have you ever done a call and go? Oh,
well, I've got quite.
Was it that bad?
Yeah, I've got quite a vocal dog, so he does bark a lot. So when the window cleaners come, I know it's game over. I have to sort of go and do something else, because that does not end well, especially when they knock on the window going, what's the matter with you? You know us by now. It's like, just clean the windows and go.
Yeah, the dog's whining, not because of the window cleaner, it's your call. Oh God, was I that bad? You say about something else. I mean, today or nowadays, other means of prospecting, so video, voice notes, that kind of thing. What are your thoughts on those, Dan?
So I've only just worked out how to do the 1.5 on voice notes, because I've got a couple of friends who like voice notes, and I'm so diligent. I always, I'm sitting comfortably, get my headphones in so that I can listen to it and give it my full attention. And then somebody said, oh, you do know you can speed it up a bit, so you can speed it up to 1.5. So I started doing that. That's good. I think you've just got to find a way that works for you. And actually, it's not just about what works for you, it's about what works for the other person. So
Yeah.
everyone absorbs information and takes in information differently. Some like to read, some like to speak, some like to listen to a voice note, some like to watch a video. So actually, if you're thinking about how can I reach my target audience, well, you need to be where they are and meet them there. So however you believe, or they've told you they like to consume information, that's the format that you should present it in. So I think just do what works for your audience that's going to get you the best results. We use the telephone because typically, well, depending on the sector, it gets us through to the decision maker quite quickly, and actually that then leads to a yes or no answer quite quickly. And in a space where everyone is trying to, offer a point of difference, that's our point of difference. We don't just sit behind a multitude of emails. We use the emails to enhance our telephone interactions, but we lead with the telephone.
Emails to enhance. I didn't even mention emails. I hadn't even thought of it. I was thinking about the other more kind of dynamic ways of doing stuff. But when you say emails enhance, how are they enhancing? What are you doing?
It's very rare that you get a positive response back to an email in isolation on its own. So you have to use it to back up your other methods of communication, which is what we've just spoken about. So when we're starting from scratch doing cold outreach, we send an email first. So actually, what we normally do is get a company, phone up to identify the decision maker, and then we'll email the decision maker. And then we follow that up with a call to ask, have you received the email? Is it of interest? Can we have a conversation? So we're referencing the emails during our telephone conversations, but we're using the two methods of communication, together, intertwined, because it's a conversation which we want to lead somewhere. In terms of your voice notes and that type of thing, I think it definitely has a place. I think you need to read the room, i.e. how is this going to land with the person that I'm sending it to, because some people find that whole WhatsApp thing really intrusive, and the worst thing you want to do is pee that person off. And let's face it, if you are, so let's say, for example, I am prospecting on behalf of one of my clients, contacting senior leaders of big organizations. If I send them a WhatsApp between the hours of 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, are they going to sit in their office and actually play that WhatsApp in front of their, does that put them in a situation that's slightly uncomfortable? Whereas if I send them an email, they can read that at their leisure. If I call them and it's not convenient, they won't answer, then I'll leave them a voicemail and they can return the call at a time which is convenient to them. So I think you've got to think about the other person and how your communication tool is going to be received by them and arrive with them.
Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, voice note, funny enough, I hadn't thought WhatsApp. I was thinking more LinkedIn, because you can send the voice note in that. It's a balance, isn't it? It's a balance between what do they prefer, but also what's going to cut through the noise. Because they might be getting a ton of phone calls. They might be trying to make phone calls, actually, trying to sort sales leaders. Talking to their own customers. So there's a video, something they can do in their own time, give them that kind of asynchronous way of communicating. And is it, that's a bit different. I don't usually get a video. I'll look and see what it's all about. Some people might get a ton of videos. I don't. If you send me a video, I'll look at it. Absolutely look at it.
Well, exactly. And that's the point, isn't it? Do something that's going to make you stand out from the crowd. They'll remember you as, that's the person that sent me the video, sent me the voice note, whatever it might be. So just get creative, really, but think always it's about them, not you, in terms of how they receive that message.
About them, not you. Absolutely. You want to be the only person that they're interested in the room.
Yeah, totally. And you want to stand out for all the right reasons. Like we speak to a lot of food businesses, like hospitality and businesses on behalf of our food producer clients. And we never phone between like 11 or 11:30 at a push and 2 o'clock, because we know they're in the middle of the lunch service. And the last thing we want to be is, oh, I remember them. They were the annoying people that phoned when I was plating up, whatever it was.
They are the people that really don't understand our business.
Exactly.
Well, why would I want to talk to somebody who don't get me?
Hello, we're a restaurant and you're phoning me at midday. You might want to go away and rethink your contact strategy.
Yeah, no, I've been out with brewery reps quite often, and yeah, similar. Start early, take a long lunch because you might as well. There's no point. They're not going to talk to you. Afternoon, then 5, knock it on the head.
Yeah.
Unless you're going to support an event, then you're out till 11 at night. That's dead tiring. That's different. Oh, brilliant. So yeah, no, stick out for the right reason. Stick out for the right reason. That is absolutely top advice. Good. We just touched one page. I mean, we sort of spoke broadly, but then we got into the prospecting bit. I mean, I know there's 52 different ways in the book.
Yeah.
What a week, isn't there?
Yeah, one a week. Yeah.
One a week.
Yeah.
Which covers, you've intimated the whole of the sales process. There's all lots of bits that we could do slightly better. Where can people get the book?
So it's available on Amazon in paperback and Kindle format.
Okay, we can pop a link to that in the show notes. And where can people get in touch with you? Because they might have heard you and thought, oh, you know what? Sounds interesting. I want to take a conversation further.
So I mostly hang out on LinkedIn. That is my platform of choice. So you can find me there as Leisa Pickles, or follow the business, Find Me the Leads.
Brilliant. We'll drop those into show notes so people can find you there. So cool. The time's absolutely flown. Yeah, it's been very cool. And you shared some really useful stuff to think about. Thank you for coming on. Appreciate that.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
We'll look forward to seeing book 2.
52 more ways.
Oh, love it. Oh, thank you so much, Leisa. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Sales Today podcast with me, your host, Fred Copestake. I hope you've enjoyed what you heard today. If you did, please get in touch and hit subscribe. And remember, you can take the collaborative selling scorecard for free to check out how your sales approach works in today's environment. You'll find it in the show notes.